You guys all knew this video would be coming. I was going to take the day off uploading, but Kevin Sumlin has been fired after yesterday's brutal 70-7 beatdown at the hand of their rival Arizona State, and I couldn't resist making a video on him. At one point, Kevin Sumlin was the next big thing in college football, and he helped Texas A&M get near the top of the college football world, and he was said to be the ultimate quarterback whisperer. But as we all know, he was let go by the Aggies, went over to Arizona, did not do well, and now he has been fired. So today we're going to talk about the rise and fall of Kevin Sumlin, and why his bright coaching career has come to an end, and what went wrong at Texas A&M. But first, if you love college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, be sure to give the video a like, comment your thoughts, share this video with your friends, suggest a future video topic, and stay until the end. Now let's get started and talk about the tragic downfall of Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin grew up in Alabama, but moved to Indianapolis for high school, where he attended a small private school called Brebeuf Jesuit High School, where he became a standout football player and was good enough to play at the collegiate level. He decided to stay in state and commit to Purdue, where he was a starting linebacker almost his entire career. Instead of going to the NFL, he went straight into coaching, as he was an assistant at Washington State, Wyoming, Minnesota, and Purdue for a while. He spent most of that time under head coach and legendary coach Joe Tiller, and he was becoming a good young assistant coach. He then became the offensive coordinator for a bit at Texas A&M and spent 5 years at Oklahoma, where he helped the Sooner offense become one of the best in the country. He left to take the head coaching job at Houston, and this is where he would make a name for himself. He was a two-time Conference USA Coach of the Year and helped develop Case Keenum into one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And in 2011, he went 12-0 in the regular season before they lost to Southern Miss in the conference championship game. But before he could coach the bowl game, he had left. Mike Sherman had been let go by Texas A&M after the 2011 season, and after the year, someone took the head coaching job at Texas A&M and was supposed to help the Aggies transition to the SEC. Many thought that Sumlin would probably struggle at first at A&M, but he had a secret weapon that no one else knew about. Redshirt freshman Johnny Manziel was named the starting quarterback for the Aggie offense, and many expected it to take some time for the team to be good, especially in the SEC West. They also had a star wide receiver in Mike Evans and senior captain Ryan Swope. They began the season unranked, but were matched up with number 24 Florida at home. In college game day was there. They lost by 3 points, but Johnny had begun to show some flash. They won their next 4 games before they jumped into the polls and were matched up with number 23 Louisiana Tech. They won the game by 2 points and then lost a close game to number 6 LSU following that week. At 2 losses, the chances they could reach a national title, yet alone an SEC title, were basically zero, but Manziel would give it his best shot. They started with a road win against Auburn before they beat number 17 Mississippi State. The following week, they were matched up with Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Johnny Football was fireworks in that game and pulled off one of the most memorable upsets in college football history over the number 1 Tide. They followed it up with 2 more wins and finished second in the SEC West. They ranked number 9 and had a date with number 12 Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, where they blew out the Sooners, and Manziel had taken home the Heisman Trophy and become the first freshman to ever win the award. Texas A&M would also lead the SEC in total offense, total scoring, total rushing yards, and led the nation in third down conversion percentage. Sumlin and the Aggies would become the first SEC team in history to amass over 7,000 yards in total offense. Coach Sumlin was the first head coach to win more than 8 games in his first year in College Station. He was named the SEC Coach of the Year, and the hype for him was pretty unreal. Fun fact, current Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury and former Kansas head coach David Beatty were coaches on the staff then as well. In 2013, Manziel did slow down a bit and he had his little suspension thing, but the Aggies began the year ranked number 7 and fell in week 3 in their highly anticipated rematch with Alabama. They lost to Auburn, LSU, and Missouri, all of which were ranked, and they ended up playing the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Duke, where Johnny Manziel would lead a comeback and put on a show in his last collegiate game. In 2014, Sumlin would need to find a new quarterback, and he had 2 options. Sophomore Kenny Hill and 5-star blue-chip freshman Kyle Allen were the 2 guys, and Kenny Hill would get the week 1 start. He actually broke Johnny Manziel's record for passing yards in a game when they throttled number 9 South Carolina in week 1. The hype was unreal, and the nickname Kenny Trill was born. He would struggle throughout the year though, and Kyle Allen would take over about halfway through the season, and then Hill went on to play for TCU for 2 years. The Aggies went 8-5 and beat West Virginia in the Liberty Bowl. It was a bit disappointing, but still a solid year. In 2015, Kyler Murray came into the program as a 5-star recruit, but Kyle Allen still played the majority of the year. Christian Kirk and Josh Reynolds broke out as wide receivers, and they ended up going 8-5 with a loss to Louisville in the Liberty Bowl. After the year, both Kyle Allen and Kyler Murray were going to be gone, as they had transferred. They swapped quarterbacks, and Oklahoma transfer Trevor Knight came in, freshman Nick Starkel was there, and they had junior Jake Hubanock to choose from, and Trevor Knight would end up winning the starting job and would lead the Aggies to a 6-0 start, including a win over number 9 Tennessee. Sadly, they lost to Alabama again, and then lost 4 of their last 6 games to finish with an 8-5 record. This was not good for Sumlin, as he had seemingly gotten worse since his breakout 2012 season, but he would get one more chance in 2017. Nick Starkel, Kellen Mond, and Hubanock were back, and they all battled it out, but the young guys would get a chance to play, as Starkel and Mond would take turns starting. They lost a disastrous first game to UCLA behind Josh Rosen's comeback, then they won 4 straight games before a close loss to Alabama. They then lost 3 of their last 6 games to finish the regular season at 7-5. Then they lost to Wake Forest in the Belk Bowl. But before that, someone had already been fired after the loss to LSU. Apparently he was going to be fired before the game no matter what, and with him losing, that was just the icing on the cake. Sumlin was fired after 6 years, and he compiled a 51-26 record during his tenure. Despite never posting a losing record as the coach of A&M, he only won more than 9 games once and only had 1 winning record in SEC play. After Jimbo Fisher had come to the program, someone had to find a new home, and Arkansas was at first interested, but after Rich Rodriguez was fired at Arizona, someone decided to take his talents out to the West Coast. Going into the 2018 season, someone had a Heisman contender at quarterback in Khalil Tate, and there was a lot of hype around the Arizona program. The Wildcats were picked to finish 3rd in the Pac-12. They then lost to BYU and Houston in the first 2 weeks, and the Arizona Tate hype was already over. Besides an upset win over Oregon, the Wildcats were very disappointing, and they finished the season at 5-7. Tate was back in 2019, and him and Sumlin were a bust once again. 15 guys had transferred out of the program, and Arizona went 4-8 in 2019. They had gotten even worse this year, and going into the 2020 season, someone had already been on the hot seat and would have to find a new quarterback at the same time. Texas legend Grant Gunnell was the starter for the USC game, and they actually looked pretty good, but they lost a heartbreaking game to the Trojans. The Wildcats' luck had just run out as they lost their next 3 games, and then there was the straw that broke the camel's back. They lost 70-7 to Arizona State last night. I mean, I couldn't even believe my eyes when I saw this score. Arizona football is in bad shape, and Paul Rhodes will take over as the interim head coach, and someone was fired on the spot. So let's talk about why someone struggled at Texas A&M so much. Well, first, he got pretty lucky in getting a guy like Johnny Manziel, and he hid some of the team's problems, plus I think Cliff Kingsbury was the real whisperer of the team. They had guys like Kyle Allen, Kyler Murray, and Kenny Hill, and they all fell off once Cliff was gone, and Johnny's second year was not even that good. He recruited very well and was a top 15 program in terms of talent, but they never got over that hump and were definitely not a top 15 team at the end of each year, and most importantly, they were not contending in the SEC West. He blew a ton of leads, had a lot of talented players that didn't develop, there were some very undisciplined teams and moments, his coordinator hires were not out of this world, and the quarterbacks were handled very poorly, plus they didn't play well in the month of November. At Arizona, he just didn't have a ton of talent, good players didn't become stars, and he just lost his touch with coaching, plus he was on a short leash to begin with. But what do you guys think? It was a lot of fun when Kevin Sumlin rose to fame at Texas A&M, and I really enjoyed a lot of his Aggie teams, but of course it didn't end up working out, and the Arizona teams were just boring in my opinion. But let me know what you think down in the comment section, why you think Kevin Sumlin failed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, let me know what coach I should do next, like the video if you want to help it succeed, and check out my video about what happened to Kenny Hill, and all my other rise and fall coaches videos. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.